Okay. Installation software setup is not connecting. Okay. Oh, this Elegoo Matrix. Oh, hey guys. I'm just reading on the manual here. The Saturn 4 Ultra 16K, my 3D printer. User manual, or dude, how do you do this book? Yeah. It's been a while since we've done a product review, but that's not what we're going to do today. Today we're going to get into another one of my speeches, or lectures, or whatever you want to call it, right? These are for my certain viewers out there, my empath viewers, right? Yeah. I see you guys. Yeah, raise your hands if you want. No, it's okay. I know you guys like to just, blend into the crowd and everything. If you guys don't know what an empath is, or don't know if you are one, that's okay too. Stay tuned. I mean, we're going to talk about all that in this. Core empath traits. We're going to high sensitivity traits. Emotional over responsibility. That's a learned pattern, really, but still that's a trait. Trauma, hyper attunement patterns, burnout and shutdown. What else we got in here? Boundary awakening and healthier recalibration. And then, core philosophical takeaways and integration. And then there would be each chapter a section for final reflection, just for summarizing up the whole chapter. Of course, it's all done off a script because I've been finding it easier to do this when I have a script, so I stay on topic. I don't make my videos too long. Here lately, even my scripts have been causing my videos to be a little too long, and so I plan on uploading 2 videos this week. Got one going right now. That was our little simple exercise. So if you haven't seen that one, feel free to go check that one out. So get a drink. So I titled this piece, "The Journey Begins." Have you ever walked into a room and felt something before anyone spoke? A tension, a sadness, a shift in energy that isn't yours, yet it lands in your body anyway. If you felt that, you might be highly sensitive, maybe even what people call an empath. An empath is spelled E-M-P-A-T-H. But what does that really mean? Is it magic? Is it a gift? Is it a sixth sense? Is it a curse? Or just the way your nervous system is wired to notice the world in a deeper, more nuanced way? For some of us, these feelings start early. A glance, a frown, a silence, and suddenly your chest tightens, your stomach feels heavy, your mind races to make sense of it all. You carry what others feel, even without realizing it. And over time, that awareness can be exhausting, confusing, even isolating. So the exercise video I put up will help with this if those symptoms are popping up. But today we're going to explore what it truly means to feel deeply. We'll dive into the layers of empathy and sensitivity, cover learned patterns versus traits, and reflect on how to navigate life without losing yourself. By the end of this video, we'll have a map of your emotional landscape, a way to understand your sensitivity, protect your energy, and step fully into the depth of who you really are. Before we dive in, take a breath. Notice how your body feels right now. And if this resonates with you, make sure to join the Clip You community. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your awareness matters and your voice matters. Alright, so now let's begin. Core empath traits. This is innate sensitivity. Let's start at the very core. The traits you're born with, your natural wiring. This is your innate sensitivity. Innate is spelled I-N-N-A-T-E. And it is what allows you to notice the world in ways others often miss. Have you ever felt someone's mood before they spoke or a single word? Maybe a friend walks in and you instantly sense tension. Maybe it's sadness, or maybe it's excitement, and it lands in your chest or your stomach. You feel it physically even before words arrive. That's core empathetic sensitivity. Empathic, sorry. Pathetic. It's nothing is it's pathetic in here. So yeah, that's core empathic sensitivity. It's in your temperament, not something you learned. You might notice subtle changes in your posture, or in posture in general, a shift in the tone, or even the silence between words, and it hits you immediately. Crowded or emotionally charged spaces can drain you, sometimes leaving you feeling disoriented or exhausted, even if nothing was said. But it's not just about noticing discomfort. This sensitivity also shows up as a deep understanding of others. People may open up to you quickly without knowing why. You sensitively understand behavior, intentions, or motivations that others might miss. Sometimes even strangers' distress can touch you profoundly. Think about media, too. Violent movies, cruel news, chaotic imagery. Maybe you've seen some of those YouTube videos I have seen where they start off with a title that gets your attention, you click on it, and every sentence feels like it's describing you. Those videos are creatively designed by people that should be psychologists, because the terminology they use to try to sink you into the video, to keep you there watching, are all hooks. They make you feel like that video is you, but it's not you. They interpret and use false people's quotes in them, or twist it in ways that it shouldn't be twisted. I left that out of this one because, well, this is more personal work on this piece is, so this is technically me describing me. Pulling back one deep layer at a time. So yeah, the media, violent movies, cruel news, chaotic imagery, it lingers with you, sometimes long after everyone else has moved on. And yes, many of us have heard, "we're too sensitive," a phrase that can sting, but also points to the power of your depth. Take a moment. Notice how your body responds as you reflect on this. Where do you feel it? Your chest? Your stomach? Your shoulders? Maybe it's in your neck? Your lower back? This is your nervous system tuned into life. It's not a flaw. It's a gift. Some of these traits can feel overwhelming, especially in a world that often values toughness over awareness. But they also give you an edge, an ability to perceive nuances, to connect deeply, and to sense patterns that others miss. Even the subtle patterns. Over the next few acts, or chapters, I'm calling them acts in this, we'll explore how this innate sensitivity interacts with learned patterns, trauma, adaptations, burnout, and eventually a health boundary awakening. But first, it's important to fully recognize and honor this core layer of who you are. High sensitivity. It's also called HSP traits. So, if the first chapter was about noticing and feeling others' emotions, then chapter 2 is about how you process the world deeply, emotionally, and sensorily. This is what many call being a highly sensitive person, or HSP. It's not a label. It's not a diagnosis. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. It's a description of how your nervous system experiences life. Think about your daily environment. Loud noises, bright lights, chaotic crowds. Do they feel overwhelming? Even small disruptions can trigger fatigue or tension. You may notice yourself needing downtime after social interactions or craving solitude just to restore your energy. This isn't laziness or shyness. It's not you running away. It's not you hiding. It's not you checking out. Simply, it's the way your system regulates itself. Your mind likely reflects deeply, often replaying conversations or analyzing situations long after they happen. You notice subtle details others miss. A fleeting expression, a pattern in behavior, or a nuance in someone's voices. You feel beauty and pain intensely in the music, in art, in nature, or even a fleeting moment of kindness. And sudden changes can throw you off emotionally because your system thrives on subtle patterns and predictability, really. This depth of experience is a strength. It's not a weakness. Even if it sometimes feels like a burden, feeling it intensely doesn't mean something is wrong. It just means you're wired for rich, nuanced perception. You see layers, connections, and emotions that most people don't even notice. So let's pause and reflect. Close your eyes if it helps. Notice. When did your sensitivity show up most today? Which environments drain you and which restore you? How do your senses, sight, sound, touch, amplify your emotional experience. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward honoring your high sensitivity, instead of trying to suppress it. Over time, you'll see how this depth interacts with learned patterns like emotional over-responsibility, and how it can be harnessed rather than exhausted. Being highly sensitive is like being tuned to a wide spectrum of life that others simply can't perceive. It's a gift, but it needs care, needs boundaries, and most of all, awareness to prevent overwhelm. That's what we'll explore next as we dive into the layer of emotional over-responsibility, the patterns we learn to survive and to care for others, sometimes at our own expense. So our reflection prompts for viewers, this is what I was talking about at the end of each chapter. Notice one moment when your senses felt amplified today. Which environments energize you and which drain you? How do your feelings and sensory input interact? I feel like those are some deep questions that you can seriously sit there and ponder on, especially when it comes to your feelings. Because feelings are inward. Our everyday routines we do, those are outward stuff. We're constantly looking outward and doing our outward stuff. When are we taking time to actually reflect in? Notice our feelings. Notice how our body's feeling. Notice our thoughts, or patterns in our thoughts. Alright. Chapter 3. Emotional over-responsibility. These are learned patterns. So chapter 1 and 2 were about your natural wiring and how deeply you process the world. And chapter 3 is about what happens when that depth meets the expectations of the world around you. Many highly sensitive people learn early on to carry the weight of others. And not just the weight of others, but their emotions, often without realizing it. Think back to childhood or early relationships. Were you the one who noticed tension before anyone else? The one who smoothed over arguments? Apologized often when you weren't at fault? Or instinctively put someone else's needs ahead of your own? I'm guilty of that. I definitely put people before myself. These patterns are not flaws. They're adaptive behaviors. They helped you navigate your environment and protect relationships. But over time, they can become burdensome. Some signs of emotional over-responsibilities include feeling responsible for other people's feelings, even when you can't control them. Trying to prevent conflict at your own cost. Feeling guilty for resting, prioritizing yourself, or just saying no. Constantly explaining or justifying your boundaries. Anticipating others' needs before they even ask. When these patterns are strong, you might notice a subtle tension. Relief when others are okay, even if you're not. Or the sense that your value comes from what you provide emotionally, rather than who you are. It's easy to fall into the belief that your empathy is only useful if it's doing something for someone else. So let's pause here for a moment. Notice if any of these resonate. Some of them do, for me. Where do you feel it in your body? A knot in your stomach, tension in your shoulders, or tightness in your chest? That would be me. Feel like I can't breathe. That's your nervous system signaling where the over responsibility has settled. One way to understand this is to think of it like a muscle you've been using too much. At first it was helpful, kept relationships safe, and helped you survive. But over time, without boundaries and self-awareness, it can become strained, exhausted, and even painful. So here's the key insight. This isn't your innate empathy. Innate empathy. It's a learned pattern. And the good news is that learned patterns can be retrained. You can keep your sensitivity and deep understanding while learning to let go of the compulsive need to manage everyone else's emotional world. To start noticing these patterns, just ask yourself 3 questions. When was the last time you said no and felt anxious afterward? How do you apologize unnecessarily or justify your feelings? Do you feel relief when someone else is happy, even if it comes at your expense? As we move into Act 4 or Chapter 4, we'll explore another layer: trauma and hyper attunement, where your nervous system develops strategies to protect you in emotionally unpredictable or unsafe environments. This is where empathy intersects with survival, and understanding it deeply can transform the way you experience life. Reflection prompts for viewers. Notice one moment today when you put someone else's needs ahead of your own. Where does over responsibility show up in your body? What's one small boundary you could honor right now? That's what I was talking about in my last videos. Protecting your peace. That's why I put up that exercise. So you can get in tune with that peace. So you can ground yourself. So you're going to have that moment for yourself. Alright, Act 4. Trauma hyper-attunement patterns. If emotional over-responsibility is the habit we learn, trauma and hyper-attunement are the strategies our nervous system develops to keep us safe in environments that felt unpredictable or unsafe. Many empaths and highly sensitive people grow up in households or situations where moods shifted quickly, emotions were unpredictable, or conflict could escalate without warning. Definitely. In these environments, survival meant noticing everything, reading every subtle cue, and adjusting instantly to avoid danger or upset. You may notice signs of hyper-attunement in your daily life. I'll give you some examples. Automatically scanning rooms and noticing shifts in energy. Overanalyzing interactions long after they happen. Feeling on edge when things are too calm or when tension feels hidden. Struggling to fully relax around others, even in safe spaces. Definitely. Ignoring your intuition to avoid conflict. Fearing rejection or abandonment when asserting boundaries. Most of all, feeling shame when you put yourself first. Sorry, excuse me. Some deep stuff. These patterns are not weaknesses, okay? They are survival tools. They're adaptations that once kept you safe. The body remembers even when the mind moves on. And sometimes, even years later, your nervous system reacts as if those old dangers are still present. Imagine your empathy as a finely tuned antenna, okay? Trauma or hyperattunement turns that antenna up to maximum sensitivity, scanning constantly for signals. You pick up on subtle cues that others don't even notice. But that intensity can leave you exhausted, anxious, or over alert. So, take a moment to notice your body as you reflect. Where do you feel vigilance or your tension? When do you scan environments without realizing it? Are there moments you suppress your own feelings to maintain safety or peace? Understanding these patterns is transformative. When you see hyperattunement for what it is, a learned survival skill, it becomes possible to recalibrate. You can honor your sensitivity, retain your empathy, and choose when to engage and when to rest. It's important to learn how to rest. This layer also explains why some empaths struggle with over-analyzing or feeling responsible for emotional tension that isn't theirs. For me, my first body cue is shaking. My legs will start shaking, body shake. It's my body literally freezing because in that moment it's telling me, hey, this is not, it's not comfortable. I'm feeling something in this room. The energy's wrong, you know. And yet I try to ignore physical cues here. You know, shame on me. Should have got up. Should have left that room. Should have stepped outside, got my fresh air. Maybe take a walk. Better yet, pulled up that video that I just uploaded and done that. Taking deep breaths, saying to myself, it's okay. It's alright. It's important. So this layer also explains why some empaths struggle with over-analyzing or feeling. Yeah, responsible for the emotion, the tension that isn't theirs. It's not a flaw. It's your nervous system protecting you the only way it knows how. In the next chapter we'll explore burnout and emotional exhaustion, which often appear when sensitivity or responsibility and hyperattunement overlap without proper boundaries or restoration. Recognizing the difference between learned survival patterns and depletion is key to stepping into a healthy empathy. Alright, reflection prompts for viewers. Notice one pattern of vigilance or hyper-awareness in your daily life. Where do you suppress your own feelings to maintain peace or safety? How has your nervous system adapted to protect you. Alright, Act 5 or Chapter 5. Burnout and shutdown. When you've been highly sensitive, emotionally attuned, or carrying the weight of others' feelings for a long time, your system eventually sends a signal. You are running on empty. This is what we call burnout. Emotional exhaustion that goes far beyond being tired. You might notice it in your body first. Chronic fatigue, tension, irritability, or a heaviness that doesn't sleep, doesn't fix. Maybe it's just heaviness that sleep doesn't fix. Small demands feel overwhelming. Tasks you once managed easily now feel like climbing a mountain. You may notice a sense of emptiness, feeling that your emotions are flat or muted, or that caring itself has become difficult. Burnout can also manifest in your mind. Distractions, forgetfulness, and a fog that makes connecting with yourself or others challenging. You might feel resentful, even towards those you deeply care for, yet suppress that resentment because it goes against everything you learned about patterns. Now, burnout is different from shutdown, okay? Which is a protective state of the nervous system. In shutdown, your body and mind disconnect from feeling entirely. You may feel emotionally flat rather than tired, detached from joy or from people you care about, or as if you're watching life from a distance. Emotions don't show up on your face. You just have a blank stare. Emotional conversations may even feel impossible, and you may instinctively isolate yourself to feel safe. But burnout drains your energy. Shutdown protects your energy. Both can feel uncomfortable, frightening, or even confusing for empaths because they mask or mimic the absence of empathy. When in reality your sensitivity is intact, it's just overwhelmed or shielded. So take a moment and reflect quietly. Ask yourself these 3 questions. Have you noticed moments where small demands feel exhausting even when they shouldn't? When have you felt disconnected from people or your own feelings? Where in your body do you feel tension, numbness, or heaviness when you're burned out or shutting down? Understanding burnout and shutdown is key to reclaiming your empathy. It's key to reclaiming your energy. It's key for a reset, like that exercise I put up. It teaches you when to rest, when to protect your energy, and how to distinguish between sensitive awareness and overextension. But I'll be honest with you guys, alright? Here's a general truth. Experiencing burnout or shutdown doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean your empathy is too much or wrong. It means your nervous system is asking for care, boundaries, and space to recalibrate. For me, it's coming back here, putting myself in the room. I'm not hiding. I'm recalibrating myself. I am retuning myself. I'm grounding myself. I'm setting my frequency correctly. Getting it where it needs to be. It's like putting a rechargeable battery on a plug and recharging it. In the next act or chapter, we'll explore boundary awakening. The point where empaths can become healthy, integrated, and self-sustaining. This is important, guys. This is where you learn to feel deeply without overextending. The sweet spot, as I like to call it, for long-term emotional resilience and connection. Alright, a reflection prompt for my viewers. Got 3 of them for you guys. Notice when you feel physically or emotionally drained. Is it burnout or is it shutdown? Where in your body do you feel tension, heaviness, or numbness? What is one small action that could restore your energy today? Maybe it's going for a drive. Maybe it's going to a store and do some window shopping, or going to a restaurant that you've never been to before, or going to your favorite restaurant. Maybe it's calling up your family or a loved one. Maybe going and hanging out with your friends at the mall. Or maybe you're like me and put some music on, go out in nature, do some hiking, some camping. Because, well, music for me, it's like taking my depression from here and raising it to some exciting level. Especially a song that, brings back memories of, great times, or something I can relate to. Something that, makes me want to get up and dance and sing with it. Maybe that drive. Maybe it's that wind coming through the window, blowing on your face, that fresh air. Just in tune with nature. Maybe a hiking, rock climbing, camping. It is you in nature. It's like you're resetting yourself, grounding yourself, doing something you enjoy. Let's just simplify it. Doing something you enjoy. Take a moment to stop pleasing others, reading the situation, reading the rooms, and take that moment or that day for yourself. If you can, step outside for like 5-10 minutes. Watch that video of that exercise I did. That will help out so much. I swear. I think it's not even that long a video. And I'll walk you through everything. All you gotta do is just sit on a bench or a chair or something, close your eyes, someplace where you won't be bothered. Just listen to it and follow the directions in there. Technically all it is a breathing exercise. You don't even have to, and well, there is some naming the feeling or what you're feeling. But anyways, I'm not going to give that away, that video. We're getting off topic. See, this is why I stick to my scripts. Alright, Act 6 or Chapter 6. Boundary Awakening and Health Recalibration. If burnout and shutdown are signals that your system has been overwhelmed, then boundary awakening is the point where you begin to reclaim your energy. That's what I was talking about. Your atonement, or autonomy. I'm saying that wrong, I know I am. Autonomy. Autonomy. See? And your capacity to feel deeply without losing yourself. Think of it as the sweet spot of empathy, right? You're still sensitive, still attuned, still deeply caring, but you are no longer absorbing what isn't yours, overextending yourself, or sacrificing your well-being to maintain connection. You might notice signs of boundary awakening in your life. I'll give you some examples. I'll give you 7. How about that? Alright, first one. You feel calmer, grounded, and more present without feeling numb. It's a sign of boundary awakening, right? 2. You notice manipulation or emotional pressure more quickly and can disengage without guilt or anger. You no longer feel compelled to explain or justify yourself constantly. Oh, man. Number 4. Your reactions are measured. You respond from clarity, not from over-responsibility. 5. You feel selective in your connections, choosing depth over quantity. 6. You trust your intuition more fully and act from it confidently. And the last one, number 7. Even misunderstood, you feel peaceful and anchored in your own experience. You know what I chose 7? 1. You have your hand up. Get attention. What are you asking for? Peace. Tranquility. That's what it's about. So yeah, even misunderstood, you feel peaceful and anchored in your own experience. That's probably the most important one out of them all. So let me break this down even further. This stage is a gentle integration of all the layers we have explored. Your innate sensitivity, high sensory processing, your learned patterns, and trauma adaptations. Boundary awakening doesn't happen overnight. It's a process of recalibration. Noticing where your energy is spent and choosing where and how to engage. Better yet, choosing where and how that energy goes. A simple way to begin is to ask yourself these 4 questions. When do I feel calm and aligned with my true self? Where in my life am I overextending unnecessarily? What boundaries can I honor today to protect my energy without guilt? How do I differentiate between empathy that serves me and empathy that drains me? So yeah, what's the difference between empathy that serves me and empathy that drains me? So here's a key insight. Setting boundaries does not diminish your heart or your sensitivity. In fact, it enhances your capacity to connect, to love, and to contribute meaningfully. Allows your empathy to flow intentionally instead of leaking uncontrollably. Man, almost sound like a poem. Oh yeah, so well worded. And this is where I revised several times. So I'll reread this. Here's the key insight. Setting boundaries does not diminish your heart or your sensitivity. In fact, it enhances your capacity to connect, to love, and to contribute meaningfully. It allows your empathy to flow intentionally instead of leaking uncontrollably. Love that. Boundary awakening also means noticing subtle shifts in your nervous system. No, I know. I like to throw that in almost every video. Shifts, because they're important. So, boundary awakening, noticing these shifts in your nervous system. Well, what are they? Well, their relief replaces tension when you say no. Clarity replaces confusion when you disengage from unnecessary conflict. Trust replaces anxiety when you honor your own needs. Man, that third one is a good one. I almost choked on my own words. Literally. Trust replaces anxiety when you honor your own needs. Very, very true. This stage is not about withdrawing from the world or becoming detached, even though people like to think of that. It's about being fully present, fully sensitive, and fully empathic. Not telepathic, it's empathic, okay? While staying rooted in yourself. That's the important key. Being fully present, fully sensitive, fully empathic, while staying rooted in yourself. It's where the gift of empathy transforms into empowered presence, where you can feel deeply without losing your sense of self. So take a moment now and reflect quietly. Where in your life can you start honoring your boundaries? How would it feel to let empathy flow freely but safely? What small act today could reinforce your sense of self while staying open to connection? This is where your journey shifts from survival to thriving with sensitivity. The point where deep feelings becomes a sustainable, life-affirming gift instead of a burden. I'll take a moment and let you guys ponder on that, think on that, reflect. All right. Reflection prompts for my viewers, all right? Notice one area of your life where you can safely set a boundary today. Where does your empathy feel grounded rather than draining? How does it feel to reclaim your energy while still caring deeply? Alright, Act 7 or Chapter 7. This is the core philosophical takeaways and integration. Alright. We have walked through the layers of what it means to feel Philly. To feel deeply. Your innate empathic traits, your high sensitivity, your learned over responsibility, trauma, adaptations, burnout, and the journey toward boundary awakening. Alright, so now let's step back and see the bigger picture, okay? We've seen all these little pieces. Let's put them together. So now focus on the bigger picture. The it's the philosophy that can guide a life lived deeply and wisely. The first truth is this: empathy is not a weakness. Feeling deeply, sensing the emotions of others, and perceiving nuances in the world is a gift. One that allows connection, insight, and compassion. But like any gift, it requires care, attention, and boundaries to remain sustainable. Second, not all feelings are yours to carry. Okay? High sensitivity can sometimes blur the lines between your emotions and the emotions of others. Learning to distinguish what belongs to you and what is shared and what is another person's responsibility is a practice. One that develops clarity, calm, most of all, self-respect. All right. Third, self-care is not selfish. Setting boundaries, resting, and prioritizing your own emotional and physical well-being are essential steps to living authentically as an empath or a highly sensitive person should, okay? It's not a loss of compassion. It is a reclamation of your energy and your heart, though. Definitely, yes. Fourth, empathy grows stronger when integrated with awareness. I'll pause there and let you guys think on that one, alright? I'll read it one more time. Empathy grows stronger when integrated with awareness. You want to grow? That's how you do it. By understanding your patterns, both innate and learned, and recalibrating your nervous system, you can remain sensitive, caring, and deeply attuned without overextending or losing yourself. And finally, don't worry, I got another. I can always come prepared. Your journey is ongoing, okay? There will be moments of exhaustion, moments of hypervigilance, and moments of pure, unfiltered connection. Each stage, from sensitivity to over responsibility, from burnout to boundary awakening, offers insight and growth. Observing these patterns with curiosity and compassion, that is the key to thriving in your depth. Alright, so take a moment now to reflect What part of your emotional experience feels most like a gift? I'll read that again. What part of your emotional experience, what part of that feels most like a gift? 2. Peace, fam. Where do you still feel overextended? And what boundary could honor your energy? And 3. How can you allow your empathy to flow intentionally without losing yourself? I think that one's the most important question, right? How can you allow your empathy to flow intentionally without losing yourself? Well, let's look into the core of that question. It's all about balance, right? Yin and yang, teeter and totter, push, pull, hot, cold, up and down, left and right, forward, backwards. You see? It's all about balance. All of those terminologies are about balance. Without balance, this life would be way, way different. But if you were going to take anything away from this, just remember this, okay? Letting go of compulsive caretaking does not mean losing your heart. It means learning where your heart truly belongs. In yourself. In safe connections. In safe spaces. And in spaces where your depth is valued and not drained. So as you leave this video, take these reflections with you. Notice your body, your responses, your energy, and the subtle signs of your own recalibration. Your sensitivity, your empathy, and your capacity to feel deeply, they are not burdens. In fact, they're your superpowers, okay? Ready to be navigated. Definitely. Waiting to be navigated with awareness and love. So if this journey resonated with you, take a moment to share your reflection in the comments, okay? Subscribe to ClipView for more insights. Join the ClipView community. And please just like this video if it helped you see your own depth more clearly. And remember, you're not alone. Obviously. I'm one of them. I'm one of these empaths. And your depth is your strength. So my final reflection prompts for you guys, okay? For me. Is 1. I'm gonna take a drink. That definitely deserves it. Props to you guys for, listening to something that's so deep. Even if this doesn't relate to you, take this into something to be aware of when you encounter others. Maybe then the person you're encountering is an empath. Alright. So the final reflection prompt for you guys, Number 1. Notice one boundary you can honor this week that protects your energy. Just one boundary, okay? Just like I said, energy, what is that? That's peace, right? You don't want to just give your energy out to anybody and everybody. Because if you're constantly giving, then what's left for you, right? Think about that. I don't even know how to do number 2. Because there's so much that comes to mind. Alright, number 2 then. Let's just get into it. Identify one empathic trait you want to embrace fully and intentionally. So many empathic traits I would like to embrace, especially intentionally. Maybe it's understanding for me, right? I'm not a know-it-all guy. I can't read the future. Can't read people half the time. But I can read some energy in the room. I can read the tone in someone's voice. Very quickly, actually. That's the sad thing, really. I can read others before I realize what myself. It goes right back to what I was saying. I'm guilty of putting others before myself. That's something I learned way back from my childhood. You want to get down to the core of that? It's simple. I learned early in life that if I put my boundaries down, if I did not argue, I did not especially argue my point, if I did not chase to prove my worth, then I felt safe. I felt like having boundaries, people would see right through it, or in my interactions, I'm like, hey, this guy is holding back. He's not being honest with us. He's hiding something. He's not being truthful. See? The list goes on and on and on and on and on. So I felt, hey, I put my boundaries down and I would just totally open up. That is where I was messing up. I overshared. Look what I did. That hurt them. That hurt me. That hurt people I care about. Because I was sharing things that I shouldn't be sharing. That's why they were getting hurt that I care about. And the sad thing is, it took me this long just to identify. To realize that. To work on that. Yeah. I beat myself up a lot. Yes, I am the hardest person. How do I rephrase that? Yeah, let me rephrase that. When it comes to me, I'm the hardest person on myself. I'll judge myself, I'll put myself down, I'll talk negative to myself, think negative thoughts. But at least I am unconsciously aware of it and don't act on it. That's where the healthy part, I guess, is on that, right? See, these are deep questions that could easily be videos of them home. Alright. Yeah, there's that tension in that chest. Alright. The third one, and the final one before I'll let this in video go and end it. reflect on where your sensitivity brings your connection, insight, or joy. So yeah, reflect on where your sensitivity is, right? Your sensitivity's connection, your sensitivity's insight, joy. That's what I was saying. I am constantly out there trying and putting others before myself, trying to please them, trying to make them happy, trying to make them feel like they're heard, making them feel like they matter. And I'm not dedicating myself, the time to myself to reflect, to do the things that bring me joy. And because of that, I constantly feel drained, I constantly feel burnt out, I constantly feel like I failed myself. I didn't fail others, I feel like I failed myself. Maybe that's where that feeling of feeling like I'm the one puzzle piece that doesn't fit into the puzzle comes from. But you know what? I took that thought, I meditated on it, I reflected in, using that exercise, and I realized that a lot of this is all from my past, my childhood. The way I was raised, the expectations that was demanded on me, the responsibility, the being the role model for my brothers. Stupid decisions in my life. And there is so much more about my childhood traits that came from that. Yeah. Habits, energies that reflected and compounded and shaped anything and everything about me in ways that I'm still learning and becoming aware of. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. And maybe you are like me and you're an empath. Maybe you're not. Maybe you have some of these traits. Either way, I just hope that you liked what I shared with you guys. So, just would like to say thank you guys for watching Clip U, and see you guys in the next video.